Hello, my name is Evan No, and today Tyler and myself will be advocating that the United States should lower the drinking age to 18-year-olds. To give some background before we start, I'd like to add that even before 1984, which is when the drinking laws were enacted to make drinking at any age under 21 legal, there were also disputes nationally and statewide on which age is the right time for an American to start drinking. Because of the minimum legal drinking age and its hypocrisy to other standards that hold adult responsibility to 18-year-olds. This further supports that the drinking age laws were enacted merely for health and DUI rates, which are insignificant in the evidence we will put forward later on. To support our proposition, I will uphold three main points. The first being that 18-year-olds in the United States are considered adults by definition. For example, voting, which was ratified in 1971, it lowered the voting age for all elections to 18. This means we were trusting them to make responsible adult decisions. Another reason why we consider 18-year-old adults is through the military. From USA.gov, it says that almost all men aged 18 to 25 who are U.S. citizens or are immigrants living in the United States are required to be registered with the Selective Services. This is enforced by the military draft law and legal definition. The military draft is the enforcement by the government and of its constitutional right to require all citizens of sufficient age and capacity to enter the military service of the country. Further saying, an 18-year-old named Alex Kennedy, rifleman who dodged the hail of Taliban bullets to save his commanding officers' lives, has become the youngest soldier since the Second World War to be awarded the Military Cross. So if all of these adult responsibilities are brought upon an 18-year-old, why are they not able to have the same privilege to enjoy themselves with a drink if they choose so? Our second point is that the decrease in drunk driving occurrences were not necessarily because of the new laws of the Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1984. These decreases in drunk driving occurrences, our supporting evidence is from seatbelts that were implemented in 1984, which increased the usage of seatbelts in laws, which is the same year that the national drinking laws were enacted. Therefore, it cannot be directly determined that the drinking laws were the direct causer of lower driving fatalities. That was from the CDC.gov of motor vehicle safety. Another reason is supporting that there are other laws that contributed to were the lower blood alcohol limits when driving. In the 70s, it seemed that it would be in the 70s, it was widely accepted that someone would just go behind the wheel drunk. That might be because there was little to no penalties and no one lost the driver's license and crashes were considered accidents. Over a 30-year period of blood alcohol limiting for drunk drivers dropped across the states to a blood alcohol content level of 0.08. Stiffer penalties became the norm for everyone caught being drunk while driving, and ignition interlocks became the method as one of the best ways to stop drunk drivers. At the same time, for ages 18 through 20, the blood alcohol content levels were always regulated as 0.00, which means no alcohol in the blood system while driving. Beginning in 1978, the first anti-drunk driving organization in the United States, called Removal of Intoxicated Drivers, grew. Other activists and they jumped on board, and by 1983 there were about 130 chapters in 30 states. Along with other laws that were not, the MLDA of 21 included the further punishments. This represent, according to the legal encyclopedia, it is represented that there was a 220% increase in DUI arrests from 1970 to 1986, while the number of licensed drivers increased by just 42%. You would think that the Minimum Drinking Age Act that was in between this time frame, that DUI rates would be lower, but it hasn't. Jail time in all states of the first offense DUI were classified as a misdemeanor and punishable up to 6 months. And underage offenders are likely to have their licenses suspended for 1 year, according to onedui.com. While the national average cost of the DUI is around $10,000, it can often be much higher or lower depending on where you live. There are a significant number of variables that conclude the decline of drunk driving fatalities. We believe that the 21 age limit has done significantly less to aid that decrease of drunk driving deaths. Keeping the law 21 or older to drink merely for insignificant reasons is unreasonable. While lowering the drinking age to 18 and keeping the rules and regulations and fines constant, it will deter any risk of higher drunk driving rates, while allowing 18 to 20-year-old adults to freely drink. Our third point is that lowering drinking ages can create safer opportunities. This is not saying that being able to drink in bars is safer, but it creates, but we have safer resources today like Uber and the things that come along with the Minimum Legal Drinking Age Act of 21 created fake IDs and incident reports that cost people serious consequences and fines. To support this, we see that rates of underage drinking is already high. By the age of 18, about 60% of teens have at least one drink, and in 2015, 7.7 million people of ages 12 through 20 report that they have drank alcohol beyond just a few sips in the last month. This source was from the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse, but I'd like to point out that this is considered abuse because it is merely illegal. If it were legal, this would be just a normalized fact, like other places, like other foreign countries such as France.